Good afternoon, everyone. The House of Sultan and Sons Private Limited and methodAI extend a very warm welcome to all the participants of today's Artificial Intelligence webinar. It feels nice to have you all here, and we thank you for that. A bit about the House of Sultan first. Pioneers in the field of book publishing in post-independence India, we cater to students from pre-primary to university level, churning out over 600 regular titles, besides adding new ones to our stable year after year. Known for competently written, elegantly produced, and reasonably priced books, our publications are widely described in reputed schools and colleges across the nation, as well as in some neighboring countries. Our authors are distinguished academicians, professors, and educationists, vast experience and expertise. We are proud to be associated with them. I now introduce you to the host of today's webinar, Dr. Sachin Gupta. Besides authoring artificial intelligence and data science books for classes 9th and 10th, Dr. Gupta is Dean Research and Innovation, Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Technology, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi. It's a matter of great pride for us that Dr. Gupta's latest book on AI, Decoding Artificial Intelligence, has won the Outstanding Contribution to AI Literature Award recently. We congratulate him for this achievement. Besides, Dr. Gupta has also been HOD, Computer Science Engineering and MCA Department, Dronacharya Group of Institutions, Deputy Director and Head, Computer Science Department, Chandraprabhu Jain College of Higher Studies, affiliated to GGSIPU, Delhi. The teaching experience of over 22 years includes teaching undergraduate and postgraduate students and researchers. Dr. Gupta's academic pursuits have been fairly meritorious, winning him several awards, distinctions, scholarships, including the Certificate of Academic Excellence by GGSIPU. Dr. Gupta has also contributed to various journals, conferences, and books for schools and higher education, both nationally and internationally. His achievements are truly commendable. I now request Dr. Sachin Gupta to take you through today's session. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the introducing me to this wonderful audience. I'm going to give a very short brief about what we are going to discuss and what I expect all of you to be able to help us with. I see a good lot of faculty members who might be either practicing AI in their classrooms or who are starting this session with respect to this academic year, or who might have already started. And initially we wanted to start where we left off for the class 10th presentation, but for 9th, I'm taking it completely from scratch. Absolutely no prior experience required. Any question is more than welcome. If you feel there is some some question which you might say that, no, this is not appropriate to ask or something, please do not hold back. Every question is important when it comes to AI, because I have seen the kind of very small doubts in my own mind, which I could not ask earlier, but which I know are very, very important when it comes to artificial intelligence. So without much ado, let us start this session with, I hope I am audible to everyone and my screen is also visible. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Okay. Your chat window is your domain. I will keep looking at it whenever there is a question coming, and you can post your queries. If not during the session, we'll take every query after the session. So the session is on basic understanding of what is AI. We'll have some small activities also during the session, but let us start with what is intelligence as per our own experience, humans. How do we perceive intelligence? There is a very common definition that goes in intelligence, which says that intelligence is the ability to learn and to adapt and react to new situations. While interacting with faculty members today, there was a very popular question that comes across from several quarters, that is this kind of learning rule based or data based or something? So that is the one thing that we are going to answer with the session. But commonly, whatever tasks of human intelligence that we associate with ourselves, like we can see, we can describe things, we can adapt to situations. Like I started learning cycling when I was young. We fell down a lot of times. We knew what mistakes we did, and we learned from those mistakes to gradually grow in that category. Or about learning a mathematics topic like algebra, we started out small, addition and subtraction and division, and then we could build in complex equations. So human intelligence is basically the ability to learn and also to adapt and react to new situations which we did not know previously. And that is exactly what we are trying to do with artificial intelligence in computers. We are trying to impart those aspects of human intelligence which could not be done by machines prior, and now we want them to be the machines to be able to do those tasks which were not feasible for them. Traditionally, programming has been related to a very simple model that you have an input, then it goes to a process, and finally you get an output of that. So any programming language that you are practicing, maybe C, maybe C++, maybe Java, your cycle would remain the same. There is a set of inputs. You design the process or an algorithm, and finally you get output, which is going to be based off that whatever input you gave to your process, the process is going to compute or transform it and give it to you in the form of an output. Machine learning changes it. We'll discuss machine learning a bit later. But for the time being, that artificial intelligence would simply not require you to create that process part. That process part is something that it is supposed to learn by its own, the way the humans do learn. So in this session, we'll restrict ourselves to describing the difference between data-driven versus rule-based approach, because this was the question which majority of the teachers have been asking us. We'll take some applications of AI and outline some benefits and issues of AI applications. And of course, if there is any query that you would like us to take up, we'll definitely discuss that. So we'll start the question with a small paper of, see, there is an activity paper. Check this out. We have a piece of paper that we want to check out whether it is considered intelligent or not. I'll zoom it in so that you will be able to see better. So let us take it. All of you have played that noughts and crosses, like tic-tac-toe, or the game of tic-tac-toe that you say. What if there were certain rules? What if there were certain rules that would say that the first move you would place X in a corner. If the other player did not place O in the opposite corner, then place X in the opposite corner to move one, and place X on a free corner. And likewise, for each of the move, there are certain rules. And we have only total of 5 set of rules here, not more than that. It can be considered intelligent or not. This is a poll. So intelligent piece of paper is something like, it has never lost a game of noughts and crosses. In a class, you may be using 2 volunteers for this. One will play at the behalf of humans, that I might be able to place a cross here. And my rule book says, if the opponent has not placed a cross in this space, then I would be placing a cross here, the first of all. If they have placed a O here, in that case, I'll place the cross in any of the corners which are available. That was move 1. If you play this game by this rule book, there is never going to be a possibility that you are going to lose. The intelligent piece of paper would never lose. But is it truly intelligent? So the question goes to all of you, that there are certain instructions the instructions make this game to be played better than humans. That I might make a mistake as a human, but when I'm following a set of rules, or when my machine is following a set of rules, it is never going to fail. It is never going to be defeated. Is this paper now intelligent? What do you think? I'll open the chat for everyone so that they can record their response. Would I call this piece of paper intelligent because there is a set of instructions written on it, which is allowing me to defeat even humans on this game? It's a very simple question, yes or no answer. You don't have to actually give a reasoning for what you think. Okay, YouTube says no, right? Mamta ma'am says no. Okay, I am taking the response to be anybody with yes, this is intelligent. Okay, somebody on YouTube says yes. Fine. Oh, Vasuki says yes. Taken. Correct. I'll go. I have got both the responses now. I have a yes, I have a no. Let us take it forward to. Uh, let us go back to our definition of intelligence. So commonly people describe intelligence as the ability to learn, yes, and to adapt or react to new situations. Would this be able to adapt is the big question. So the piece of paper had instructions written on it that make it intelligent. So there were certain moves, move 1, move 2, move 3, and all so forth. That as per the definition of artificial intelligence, or in basic definition of intelligence, the paper is not intelligent. It's just a set of if-then rules, and it cannot adapt itself to new situations. What if something happens which was not available in any of these moves? I will not be able to actually adapt to this situation now. So that is a problem. That this is the first and fundamental question whenever you are going to talk about intelligence. Something is intelligent or not, that would be dependent on this question that you have. All right. So you have considered what is meant by intelligence. We define artificial intelligence as something which is capable of learning from whatever data that you have collected or whatever experiences that you have had. And at the same time, if there is some experience which you have not got so far, what happens in that case? Would you be able to adapt to a new situation or not? If yes, you are talking about intelligence. If no, you are not talking about intelligence. Same goes for AI. Same goes for artificial intelligence. If I can create a program which is capable of taking in pairs of inputs and outputs, that is, that what is the input to my program, what is the expected output of my program, and it can create a model which would be able to later say, okay, I did not see this thing originally. What happens when a new input comes? And my program still is able to give me an answer because it adapted to the new situation. That would be considered artificial intelligence, for instance, there. Let me open the chat quickly. Okay. So technology that helps human task, the definition is good for artificial intelligence. Yes. But there is a lot of technology that helps human. Consider for an example, I'll take up this question again for all the audience to see. This is something that we would be able to tell our student that yes, this is a part of definition of artificial intelligence, but there is a lot of technology that helps human tasks. Even a screwdriver or a plier or let us say a watch or let us say a vacuum cleaner or let us say a refrigerator or there are a lot of examples of technology that help us in our tasks. But are they intelligent or are they not? That is going to be the question that we are going to always ask, whether this system is artificially intelligent or this technology can be termed as AI or not. That would be based on that, yes, they can help us with the task. And what if my task was a certain bit different, that I taught the machine to do this. It got a new challenge. Would it be able to take up that challenge? Okay, that says made with human that help us difficult task, that made with code that call AI. Yes, partially this is true, with one caveat that it has to be intelligent. It has to be adaptive. It has to be able to learn and even work with a new situation that is feasible. Let's take this forward and then we can take up more queries on the chat. So when you use AI to solve problems, there are two approaches, rule-based and data-driven. Most of the time, you are going to have these two. There are other approaches also that we are not going to discuss in this session, but most of the time you will have these two. So rule-based approach and data-driven, let us discuss them in detail. While rule-based was the if-then-else structure that you already saw, data-driven would be that I would provide a large amount of data to an algorithm, which may be images, which may be text, which may be spreadsheets or numbers or data values, and in turn, AI is going to turn it into a model which is going to be able to now take up new inputs and provide us a possibility of prediction or a classification based on the new input as well. So data driven takes in a lot of data. Please make it very clear. In data driven, we are not giving the rules. We are not telling what rules are supposed to be followed. How are you going to win this game? How are you going to predict this value? Nothing. We are just simply providing it a lot of data. The machine is supposed to learn by itself, or the algorithm is supposed to learn by itself. In the rule-based approach, we were providing the rules. We were providing what was the process to be followed. So rule-based AI ruled the scenario in 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. The expert system that we had, they were all basically based on a set of if-then-else rules that we were following. But that was the intelligence definition back then in 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Till the time we did not have access to large amount of data, this was working. The rule-based approach was still considered artificial intelligence. Now that in 1996, there came one event which was considered to be highly intelligent in terms of the human language, and we'll come to that. So we would define something like a model is a representation of a real world context, that what happens when we provide this input. In real world, what would happen? That would be something like a model. A data-driven model is used to solve a problem. We'll discuss this further. That I have, let us give a small example. I have the prices of a lot of houses in my vicinity. So in Rajouri Garden, a 2 BHK house costs this, a 3 BHK house costs some other amount. If it is with the parking, it costs more. If it is with the lift, it costs further more. If it is two-side open, it would cost further more. So all of you understand how the prices of the houses are set. What if I would have an algorithm to which I would feed the prices of all the houses with their features, and suddenly now, after training it, I would give it a new house. I would say it has 2 bedrooms. It is one side open. It does not have a parking. It is completely fitted with all the appliances, fully furnished. What should be the cost of it if it is in Rajouri Garden? Now, this is some data which AI has not seen prior. But my algorithm would be able to, based on what it has learned all through in the complete scenario, it would be able to find out that what usually were the cost of 2 BHK, what was the additional price if there was a lift available or if there was a parking available, and would give him a prediction that possibly I can say with 80% confidence that the price of this house should be something close to 70 lakhs or so. That is that the data that we fed was the prices of all the houses, the features of all of them to my algorithm, and then this was solving my problem of that how do we predict the price of a house. So same problem you can take it with like that these were the symptoms that were usually defined for a person to be suffering from COVID or not. So I fed a lot of data of all the people who were having symptoms, and labeled that this person has COVID, this does not have COVID. And finally, I give only the symptoms to the machine for a new case, and it can predict whether the person has COVID or not. So this massive number of examples that we provide to our machine learning or AI algorithm is called data. And what it produces in return, this is called a model. So what happens is when I want to make a new prediction or when I want to work on new data, I would feed the data into this model, and the model is going to make an output which would be a prediction or a classification that happens. So there are two processes here. One is training, where I am feeding a lot of input and output data into the model, into the algorithm, AI algorithm, and producing a model. Once my model is created, I would now use the model to make a new prediction, give it a new input, ask it to produce a new output that basically gives you a output for the AI model. So AI algorithm is something which is learning from data. Done. AI algorithm produces a model. The model is something which is already learned what is the real life context. I can give it a new real life situation and it would give me a prediction based on that. I hope so far that is clear with no questions up to this. If there is a question so far, we can please ask. Nothing. Okay. All right. So Rajisha said that technology which can sense the situation and work accordingly. Yes, this is a very good step towards understanding how we should be able to talk about AI as a technology. Okay. So for an example, we can take the example of a AI chatbot. It uses vast amounts of data to create a conversational model. Now, what data would you train the chatbot on? I'm opening the chat window again for everyone. What if you have to create a chatbot? And we have seen the example that a data-driven model would solve a problem. I want to create a chatbot which would be able to answer any query based on Python language. So what are you going to feed? What amount or which data are you going to feed into that chatbot so that it is able to answer the question based on Python? What is the data that we are going to feed? We'll come across that. More practical practice. I have a very small question here. I want to create a chatbot. It has to use a vast amount of data to create a conversational model. I want this chatbot to be capable of answering all the queries of Python language. What would I feed it? What would I feed my AI algorithm to learn from? Python code is one. True. I have to feed it a lot and lot of examples of programming in Python with what was the program, what was the code, and what was the output it was producing. So my algorithm is learning from that. Yes, syntax would be definitely required. So Python code, a lot of Python code has to go into the data because the AI chatbot has to understand that what am I answering about? Because any query which is going to come would be based on that what Python keywords would certainly be there. This is what you are going to see. This is something like how am I going to be able to answer questions on Python? If I have to learn Python, I have to start with the documentation of the language first. That what is Python, who created Python, what are different versions of Python, what are different data structures available in Python. This is something that I would learn. Then I would start with small programs of Python, like how do I perform addition in Python, subtraction, multiplication, division, what are the different operators, what are the different keywords. So this vast amount of data to create a conversational model would be in the form of question answer. I would have to give it to learn from what are operators in Python. So that becomes one question. I give the answer to that question, give it to the chatbot. What are data structures in Python? I give it to the chatbot again. How do you perform addition in Python? I take a program, I give the solution, I give it to Python, the chatbot again. So my chatbot is essentially learning everything which I am giving to it, irrespective of what am I giving. Now, there's again another caveat. If I feed it wrong answers, this is going to give wrong responses later on. If I give it correct answers, this is going to give correct responses later on. What if I have not given it an answer of how do you perform subtraction in Python? I have not taught it yet, but I have taught it only how do you perform addition operation in Python. What would it do in that case? So the question changes. My chatbot had been trained on a lot of questions, but I have not trained it on a question like what happens when Python, how do I write code for subtraction operation in Python? Would it be able to answer that question or would it not be able to answer? I need your inputs here, guys. I just want to understand my question is. Okay. Vasuki says no. Nirender says no. No. Ashwini says no. Fine. Perfectly fine. Let us go back to one screen prior. See, that all depends on what kind of chatbot I am creating. Yes, some assumptions. Shivan says, Shweta says some. Again, there is a mixed response, and I love this because those who are saying no, they are agreeably correct. Those who are saying yes, they are also correct, depending on what kind of chatbot I am making. If I am making a rule-based chatbot, let us go back to some slide back. So my rule-based chatbot was, I would give it if this is the question, then give this is the answer. If the other question, then give other answer. Yes, perfectly fine. So you understand rule-based and database. If the question number 3 is so-and-so, the answer would be this. My chatbot, if it is rule-based, it would never be able to answer the question which it has not been fed. But what if my chatbot was trained on a large amount of data? All the Python programs, all the Python keywords, whichever it could get its hands on, irrespective of that, the subtraction question was not there. But my algorithm understands that addition was done this way. It has also understood that the operator for subtraction is minus. It would simply replace the plus with a minus. It adapts in that situation. That's what most large language models do. So ChatGPT or Google Gemini or any code-based chatbot would be able to answer even the questions which are not seen. So you understand very clearly that if I can create both kind of situations, rule-based, Shraddha will come across for sure. We are going to discuss 3 activities in the session, but understand one part now that we would be able to answer a rule-based and a data-based, data-driven activity. Right. Now, how do you create a model? Now, for this, chess is a complex 2-player strategic board. In 1996, IBM Deep Blue came up with the chessboard game that would then later on defeat the reigning chess grandmaster of the world, Garry Kasparov. What if I have to create an AI model of how to play a game of chess? What would be your opinion on how do you feed? What data would you feed? Here. Do we give it a set of rules? Because chess is basically rule-based. Like what we had earlier, the tic-tac-toe was a game of rules. Right? How do I give a set of, how do I train a computer to play game of chess? What data are you going to give it? You are going perfectly fine. I just need some answers to keep the momentum going. Set of introduction through code. Let us forget about code. Let us forget anything about that we need to program it. Programming is a part, yes. So Narendra says, yes, move of pieces. Certainly each move, how does it like a rook can go or a knight can go, different types of moves as input, instructions, certainly. So basically, all the possible movements of each of the pieces, true, they are the set of rules. Are we all saying that it's a possible set of rules? Okay. So all the rules are input if we have to train a AI model. Moves made in previous game. This is coming from YouTube. Yes, possibly. Okay. Let's stop here. Provide all set of possible rules and choose the best one. Perfectly fine. You have to optimize that. What happens if we make this move? True. Let us consider the rule-based approach first. So IBM Deep Blue made a system which was rule-based. So your data, you would have to feed it a lot of data. Fine. What do you want the model to be able to do? You want the model to be able to, for each turn, choose which piece to play and where to move it to have the highest chance of winning. Agreed. That is what my chat window also said. So the last chat said that we want to provide a set of all possible rules and choose the best one. So the highest chance of winning for each specific move is supposed to be there. Yes, strategy is again the how to choose the best. What is the most optimal move that you are going to make? Now what happens is that how do I make it understand that which move has the highest chance of winning? What data would you need to create the model? Now check out that there are certain small set of pieces that there is this is possible one move, this is a possibly second move, this is a possibly third move. So this was one starting move, this was another starting move, this was yet another starting move. So you are shown moves, a starting move from on each board. There is one starting move from both sides. White goes first. So here this moved a pawn 2 places ahead. This moved a pawn 1 place ahead. For here, there are certain set of moves. How are you going to choose which move to start with, or which move are we going to? Okay. So for this, you require where each piece has been placed in the previous games, whether combinations of the moves resulted in a win, loss, or a draw. So this is not just going to be a single move. This is not going to be a set of simple rules on the basis of which we would be able to make. However, in 1996, when the first chess game came, Deep Blue was basically calculating everything like this. So it knew that if I am going to make this piece move, what are going to be all possible iterations of whatever possible combinations of the other opponent's move are going to be. So it was calculating that. So we as humans are not very good calculators. We would be able to calculate for some numbers, maybe for some strategic moves. We can look forward to what happens after 2 moves or 3 moves or 4 moves, but we can't actually foresee what would be the lot of moves ahead. So Deep Blue was calculating every possible move of the opponent based on one possible move that it made. It was a rule-based system. It was not a database system. Even then, it was considered very intelligent because it was calculating all the approaches very fast, and it checked out all the possible scenarios before making a next move on the basis of what were the previous games and whether that combination was a win, loss, or a draw. What it could not do, however, was that in case there was a move which it had not seen any point of time in the entirety of the history of chess, then it would make a mistake. So that was one possibility in which it would have possibly lost. So 96 was a very important year for AI development. Deep Blue famously beat one of the world chess players. If we would have made it using only a rule-based approach, then what was the problem? There are more variations of chess games than there are atoms in the observable universe. Picking the best move would be extremely difficult to achieve with a rule-based system. That was the limitation here. It was calculating. So what happens better than this is that we come across a data-based approach that take up all the possible moves, all the possible games of chess which have been recorded all the possible moves of the players which have been played, all the possible moves of the opponents which have also been played, feed it to an algorithm to learn from, and then give it a new board that given this strategy, if I make this move, would the classification would be win or loss. So if my machine is capable of now adapting even to a new move based on what it has learned prior, that is a data-based approach. So that is a data-driven approach. So if I would have played only the rules as in the previous responses, that I give all the possible movements or all the possible rules, my system fails. It is not considered artificial intelligence. But if I now say all the opponents move all the possible rules and choosing the best one based on what previous games have been played, that strategy becomes immediately a data-driven strategy. I hope you can very well relate to now what is the data-driven versus AI strategy of. Okay. So somebody was asking what applications, what are the practicals that we can take up. Let us take up some fun ones for the students. This is an application from Google where let us reset it to assisted melody. I was playing with it earlier. So you should be able to see. This comes like this, a very basic. Okay. Let us search for, you'd be searching for assisted melody. This comes up at the first link. You want your student to create some music with the help of maestro composers. I told you about the data-driven approach. If I have to feed a machine to be capable of producing music, your question to your student should be, what data are we going to provide? All right. So if you want to create something based on Bach style, it had a lot of notes, rhythms, shift of harmony. So I would give it all the possible melodies of what Bach created. All right. And then I would make some, the notes are high, low, or I hope you can hear them play. And this might not be harmonious, but I want it to be harmonious later.
It's
So
not.
let us click on harmonize.
Sachin sir,
Yes, sir.
it's not audible. Maybe you have to connect the computer audio.
Okay, let me check. This is still not audible, I guess.
Not sir. I think is when you share
All right.
screen.
I don't think I would be able to do it right now.
No, sir, it is audible, sir. It is audible.
This is audible.
Yes, sir. Maybe his network is not proper. That's right.
Okay.
I'll try to play again for everyone. So this goes. You just place the notes differently to what I had done. I could do it for Mozart. I could do it for Beethoven also. Harmonize. I could choose which particular instrument do I want to play it on. And it is doing all in the browser. So there is a model which it has been trained on. That model has been fed a lot of data of what their compositions were, what their harmonies were. And on the basis of all those harmonies, this is now capable of creating, even taking up data which is not harmonious from my side and converting it into a harmony. I can choose it to play on a flute or a xylophone or even a synthesizer. I can change the tempo of the music and play again. So that is one activity that we want our students to be able to take up. Your question should be that what is the data, what it is learning from, what it is producing, how is it helping us? Is this close to human intelligence? So I go back to my chat window and I ask you again, is it close to human intelligence if it was supposed to be there? I'll expect all of you to be able to play it. You have the tool and you can play for sure. Okay, one says yes. There is human intelligence here at play. Machines were not capable of producing music. There was no creativity. The creativity is now there because we can feed them with a lot of data of how we create something or how famous musicians have created something. And they would be also able to learn from that data, take our new input, convert it into a harmony and present it for you. So that works. Okay. So this is one activity. Let us take another activity of AI for them. That how do you teach a computer to draw? And I hope there would be no audio required here. So crayon.com allows us to create a lot of data. And there are a lot of these tools available, not just that. You can create an art, a photo, a drawing, choose what. What do you want to generate? Let us say I want to generate an image of a cat flying and I give it a prompt to draw. It is going to generate some images. But how did it learn? What data? My questions to the students would be, what should be the data that had been fed to this to be able to learn? What is this system supposed to learn from which data if there is a lot of data that requires to be? So that is a question for your chat prompt, that what data should have been taught to this model, to this AI. You can answer in the meanwhile it is generating. You can use leonardo.ai, you can use bing.com/create for creating images. Now see, there is the image of a cat flying. AI could even give it wings like a... So it has learned from what it has been fed, that birds fly, birds have wings, cats are like this, and it could now mix up these two together from the lot of data that it has obtained, the visual data, the prompts, and it is now capable of creating something which is based on what we are asking it to be doing. All right. This is some example which you can give to your students and ask them to do this for you. That see what creativity they come with, but also ask that whatever they generate, to generate this, what data should have been there. All right. I could have drawn this as a drawing also instead of an image. It would still take some time. Okay. And then we can actually look for questions like, who owns this art? The art which I just generated, to the community who are listening in, that who has the ownership of this art? We'll make it available on WhatsApp for sure. Who owns this art which I have just generated? Is it me? Is it crayon.com? Is it the company that owns crayon? Is it the community? All of the people who are contributing to this? Who owns this? Or the audio that we created, the music, who owns that? Who is having the ownership? Go on, the very candid answers. You write some paragraph or an essay, you are the owner of that. You draw some image on paper, you are the owner of that. I just do an image using artificial intelligence. Am I the owner of this image or not? Is this my creation? Some say no. One response is no. Okay. From YouTube, it come debatable. Ashwini says yes, it is my creation. MIT. Okay. One says the person who has entered the prompt. This is something that you would have to. My creation becomes a part of AI. Partially true, partially. Please understand. You can Google that in New York there is a court case going against OpenAI, which has been put by a lot of publishers, that you are training all the data which is available on the internet, which we have created. Our company data is also there. Our newspaper data is also there. Why should OpenAI not pay us royalty for whatever content that you are using? So this is debatable at best, that who is creating. This debatable answer is the one which is most close to my own understanding. But if you use it in any of your essays or where originality is required, would there be plagiarism? Would there be not? Depending on where do you use it. If you are using it in lesson plans, there is no plagiarism. If you are using it in a research paper and parts of it are similar to some content somebody else wrote, that would be considered plagiarism. So be very conscious when you are using artificial intelligence. This also you have to tell the student that not only consciousness, ethics is also important. What are you generating? Because your thoughts, if I have some dark thoughts, if I create some images which are not in good taste, they also become a part of the discourse of artificial intelligence. If I start talking about creating a bomb to my ChatGPT, it might politely refuse to answer. Sometimes it does answer. Sometimes people coerce it into giving an answer. But that crosses the boundaries of ethics. So with artificial intelligence, when you are talking, when you are starting out to work with students, you would have to tell them all the possibilities that yes, it is data-based, but data can be bad. Our examples can be bad. We can be biased. We can train a machine only on data which we feel is true. In all these cases, there is going to be a problem because AI is learning from humans. And finally, this is computer vision where we can pick any image from here. So this I'll put on the window for the chat, or I'll be able to put it again back into your WhatsApp group as well. And this would be one application. The best answer came in. Shamala says, if we use, we acknowledge what not. If you acknowledge, nothing like it. Best that it has been drawn using artificial intelligence. Like this set of slides has been taken using Raspberry Pi. They created the set. So the third set of applications is AI application, computer vision. Computer vision allows the computers to see things. Normally, when you click a picture with a camera, you will not be able to say that what does it contain because the image is a digital image. But when it is seen through the lens of artificial intelligence, then it is capable of not only capturing a digital image, but also be able to intelligently foresee or say that there is possibility of a person with a confidence level that I'm 97% sure that this is a kite. I'm 99% sure that this is a parachute, or this is a person, or this is sea, or this is trees or plants. So these percentages define that what is the confidence of AI when it says something to be some object. Like you can take up this for your own work. All right. Now let us take up some questions first. If you are using spreadsheet to use some formula to work out the total cost of a holiday, would it be considered AI or not? While you answer this question, no, this is not AI. because this is not adaptable. It's a set of rules. Whatever data you are going to give, it would take up a set of rules and it's going to answer it. If there is an online streaming service that recommends films based on users' viewing habits, is it an example of AI or not? Yes, one. All right. Everybody agrees that yes, this is a recommendation system. Each user has a different set of preference. My preferences may change over time. So earlier I used to like Kishoda very much, and now I am suddenly a fan of some other singer in the today's space. In that case, it would be able to adapt to my preferences and change the recommendation. So yes, this is an example of AI. A customer service chatbot that tries to solve common problems that customers usually have. Now, would this be AI or not? For the chatbot responses, please. Okay. One says yes, one says rule-based. I love this. This is a trick question. You may say yes, this is an AI. You may say no, this is not AI. So a chatbot could use if then else. This would not use AI. The chatbot is able to recognize the meaning of a sentence and produce an appropriate response. It would be an example of an AI. Large language models like ChatGPT, they are AI. But if you are simply interacting with something on a website which it has a only set of rules, it would not be considered AI. Correct? So I am just throwing the floor open for the questions I am covering. The first question which I could not cover, which type of program can we make for the student? If you are teaching class 9, please stay far from programming as far as possible. You have to build confidence. You have to give them a lot of applications to the student, which would be able to understand that, yes, this is a good application. Customer support on WhatsApp is, if it is running a large language model, it would be AI. If it is running only a set of rules, so WhatsApp also has two different models. The companies which are creating chatbots for WhatsApp, they work on rule-based approach also. You give them a set of questionnaire and the answers are only based on that. Or for a more expensive model, you give them the complete data of your business. They train a large language model and the questions would be based on the understanding of the question and creating an appropriate answer. Is there a question in the voice note also? I am not capable of catching that yet. If there is anything on the okay, let us expand this to full. I am stopping the share. No, I am looking at the chat window, so I can't stop the share. Any more questions, please? They are both. Nirinder, customer support on WhatsApp can be trained on. Okay. How AI can be improved to used to improve classroom teaching? You can create your lesson plans using AI. You can create a set of questions on the base of AI. You can set your assessment. You can create differentiated assessment for students using AI. That for weak students, what should be the question based on this topic? For forward learning students, what should be the question based on? So you can improve your classroom teaching by incorporating a lot of generative AI. That the images that you are providing as examples that can be generated by AI also. Okay. So geography, if you are trying to look for Avneet, we are okay. I have a question pending from very long. Avneet was reminding me, are supervised learning approaches classification and regression rule based or not? Talk of a classification. Let us say I would create a set of rules which would say every round object, orange in color, with a minor depression at the end is a orange. And every red object with a minor depression at the bottom and round is a apple. I create a rule-based approach. It is going to be very comfortably most of the time giving us a correct input or output whenever we show it a different image? Not, because the rules are limited. But what if I could train it on a lot of data? So every classification and every supervised learning approach could have been rule-based if there was a very small set of rules, but it would always be very good if there is a very large set of rules. Then in that case, check the rules out, take in an AI algorithm, feed it a lot of data, let it learn the rules itself. Don't give the rules for you. When you are not giving the rules, when it is you are allowing to learn it from itself, in that case, that becomes the best approach. So any supervised and classification approach can be rule-based, but if the number of rules grow very big, in that case, it's always best to take it based on a data-based approach. I'll share my contact details. I am on a WhatsApp group. Sir, Ashish sir, can you please share the link of joining the WhatsApp group so that everybody can post? I will have a session on how to use AI for students. You can keep posting your queries on the WhatsApp group as well. There is a chat group that you can join for any queries. For all the remaining queries also, I possibly was not able to answer all of them. Okay. For practical that we can teach in class 10th, we have a complete set of series of class 10th AI based teaching based on the book, based on CBSE curriculum on the Sultan Chandan Sons YouTube channel. And you can read it all, go through all the videos. We have considered a lot of presentations there. We would be continuing with these sessions for the next, I mean, there would be 5 more sessions for the next 10 weeks. All right. I have to pick my daughter now. Certificates, I don't know. We have not so far presented the certificates. Ashish sir, can we, we'll have to possibly ask for a form to be filled.
Yes, we may consider an Olympiad for a
Yes,
certificate.
please make a request on the group and we can consider it. All right. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. It was a very wonderful session with you all. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for this highly informative and interesting session and a well articulated one at that. I'm sure the participants will vouch for this. I think, as Dr. Gupta has also said, everyone knows now that with today's session, we have started off with a series of AI webinars for class 9, today's being the first one. We'll always let you know about the next session well in advance and invite you to tune in. Thank you once again. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.